Hello, so it's late, it's getting past 1 a.m. Time runs away of itself, much like my life gets away from me and has done for far too long, but we keep chasing those dreams. I certainly was running as fast as I could in my fitness session tonight near the seawall and had the place to myself as a runner, as I so often do. But don't tell everybody, because they'll just go and get some exercise, and how terrible that would be. And that's another thing about this town, which my narcissistic but not conscientious but subliminal dad would always say: Southport doesn't have community. Southport's been in the news lately. For many years, many moons ago, my dad's made that point. Southport doesn't have community. The press often portray it as having community, but it's largely a commercial venture, and Southport doesn't really even do that right, especially with recent pressures that shops are vacant lots, the pier is closed, and the fairground been done up a bit, but it's always hit and miss. It's not as ambitious as other places. It doesn't really have very ambitious tourist attractions. You know, this is the town that has the British Lawnmower Museum. This is the town that had Southport Zoo. This is the town that had Steamport. This is the town that knocked down a perfectly good model village once and then rebuilt another one just because of a shopping complex which was abandoned anyway partway through the turn of the 90s. This is a town that has small aquariums, including one which also got knocked down, and the one in the zoo closed since 2004. And when it used to have a building that had an enormous one, but of course, for some reason, we don't build like that anymore, and hence you have the Tartarian architecture conspiracy theories around the world, by people around the world. But before I get too much into that, I've been inspired to write a poem called The Standers. The Standers, I haven't written it yet. The loiterers, you might say. I see a lot of this, more of this, or drivers, like people who hover around. This is a sort of town, I've just touched on a point. We're not as much like Liverpool or other northern places. We don't go, oh yeah, you're all right. How are you? And lots of places, and we do it a bit, but people are very often, the attitude of not doing that spills very easily into rather peculiar activities, I think. Rather arrogant activities, things where they don't give you a chance to be questioned about things that even they would maybe think twice about. They're dopey people, really, and yet very prosperous somehow, and that's, bordering on a conspiracy theory in itself. Ambulance drivers, why do they stop and start when I walk down the street? Like I sometimes think they're the police. They think they're the police about absolutely nothing except what might be in their head. Why so many narcissistic people in casual encounters get in a bad mood, act like they dominate and own the place, think that what you're doing is anything to do with them. It's nothing to do with them. How can they rationalize? But they'll even put you on on the wrong day. There's nothing to rationalize about. Or this voyeurism. There's enough people doing audits, aren't there? There's enough people filming in the streets. At least that has a more what's really going on kind of way about it. Generally, it doesn't single out people that much. The reason people react to that is because they're drug addicts. The reason people react to that is because they think they get to dominate. They think the power structure is on their side, deluded about it. How can they think the power structure is on their side? They're down and outs. How can they think a person with a camera threatens them? Doesn't threaten them, it's just having a mind of your own. Even though it is voyeurism, it is cheeky. But you see voyeurism all the time. Maybe you don't experience it yourself. It's somebody looking at you a bit too long. That's what I hate. That I hate this softly cowardice. Where they all think they're safe, and yet they're teaching you a lesson. They're blaming you. I hate this cowardice and blame and softness in their head. And it's not snowing in Southport. It's just raining. So did the news get it wrong? It felt like it just started little tiny bits of something hard and cold from the sky when I was walking earlier from the supermarket. But no, it appears to be rain.